Welcome to What's the Effort?
What the F?
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to this episode of What the Effie. Today, I'm very honored by having Chino Mante as my guest, also known as Daddy Chino. And before I jump in, you might notice a little bit of a difference, and I apologize if the lighting isn't perfect and all, but I have been moving. So, for those of you who are thinking of possibly starting a podcast, ready or not, you still got to go on. So, a shout out to Javon McGee, who came to my home and helped in sub two, came to my home, helped me get my system up a little bit so that I can do this today. And it will get better. The lighting will be better and I'll be more settled in. So, that having been taken care of, I'd like to say, Chino, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Avi. It's an honor being here because you're one of our legends in Sub 2.
Oh, thank you. So are you. And I remember from when the first time I've met you and on, I've constantly been just a joy to be with you. Just a joy to be with you. And I'm very, very happy to be, with you here as my guest. I'm going to start by asking you a little bit of a question on. I do those little adverts, on your favorite movie, and I'm curious to know, why is Inside Out your favorite movie?
So I don't really watch movies. I don't make time for them because I'm busy learning from our mentor Pace Morby, right? Shout out. That's all I have in the background, when I do things. Him and Jerry Norton, right? Of course, Jamil Damji. But for the most part, Pace is always, like on my TV, my big screen, right? Inside Out, because I love kids, human kids. I think you have to like a lesson that I'm getting from that is you have to be able to express all these emotions, started from young, right? So I picked Inside Out because it gave me a lot of lesson as far as embracing those emotions.
Okay. And that kind of feeds in a little bit to what I want to start us off with. And that is, I'd like to discuss your early years. I'd like to know where you were born, how, if you have siblings, how many, what's your birth order, what do your parents do? Let's start with that.
Okay, sure. I was born in the Philippines and moved here when I was 16 years old. My background is Filipino, Chinese, Spanish, and Black.
Did you say
Moved
6 years
to
old or 16?
16 years old.
Okay, so you grew up in the Philippines.
Kind of. I haven't been back ever since I moved here. Yeah, I am not. Yeah, I am now forever 21. So 42 years old. Yeah, so moved to San Jose, California, right? And then 4 years later, I moved to Vegas.
Okay, and how about siblings? Do you have any?
I do. There's 7 of us total.
Wow.
So it's a huge family.
What is your order and what else, what are your siblings?
I'm the middle child, so there's 2 boys, 5 girls.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. And what did your parents do when they came here?
So I have a biological father, right? He already passed. My mom went back to the Philippines. She was a CNA, a certified nursing assistant here in, I think, Vegas. Yeah. And then, she retired and she went back to the Philippines. Nothing really exciting, but, it's what, these are what's it called? My background. Yeah.
Yep. Your family,
Roger.
your family of origin, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like when we get to my roots, because of the whole mixes. Because I speak four languages.
Four. Okay.
Correct.
Tell us what they are.
Sure. So Bisaya is one of the eight major languages in the Philippines, right? And in each language, there's 70 to 80 dialects.
Mm. Wow.
And there's over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, and each island could be a different dialect. So when I moved here, I didn't know how to speak English. However, I knew how to read, write English. I just didn't know how to speak it very well. It was very interesting because nobody wanted me around because I didn't know the language. I didn't know Tagalog, which is a national language in the Philippines, right? So when I moved to California, San Jose, California, it was the Mexicans and the blacks that took me in. So I learned Spanish. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I learned Spanish, and then my English was Ebonics. So
Oh,
yeah.
very interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so when you were a little tyke in the Philippines, um, what were you like in elementary school? What was your favorite sport? What was your favorite class? Tell us about little Chino.
I've always been big on mathematics.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And then sport wise, we could not afford to get me to any sports. It
Did they
just,
have phys ed in school?
yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We have physical education, but as far as being sports, so I did join track and field. I was a 100-meter dash runner. It was short lived, right? I won. Yay!
Good, good.
Yeah.
When
Uh,
you were little, were you considered Mr. Popular, or were you a loner? What were you like as a child? That way.
So in the Philippines, I was amongst with I guess the popular crowd. However, like um, moving to America, it was a little different because I didn't belong anywhere. What's up, Sherry? I love Sherry.
Yes, Sherry's so much fun. So much fun indeed. When you were little, still in the Philippines, I know I'm
Yeah,
pushing you there, but I want
yeah,
to
yeah,
know
yeah.
the years. What sort of things inspired you? And, like what did you love doing? And what did you want to be when you grew up?
So I have very little memory about my life in the Philippines. Um,
What? You were
yes,
there for 16 years.
I know, but I want like I didn't have the childhood that a lot of Americans have, right? So it was just school, home, school, home, school, home until I moved to America. So there was little stuff. Wherever you are, we love you too. um,
Absolutely. We love you for.
yes. So I didn't really have anything else to go by. What I can remember was I wanted to become a doctor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to become a doctor. Number one, because there's bits and pieces I remember when I was in the Philippines because I had a dream that my mom had a heart murmur, right? And then I woke up. Yeah, I woke up. I remember this vividly. I woke up crying, and then I was like, no, like, and then when you go to school, teachers would ask you, like, well, what are you going to be when you grow up? Well, the common occupation would be like doctor, nurses, teacher, whatever, right? So I picked to become a doctor, but yeah, that
Did
was
you
just
did
it.
you continue with that when you came to the States? You came at 16. Were you still in high school?
I was already third year in high school in the Philippines, but here in America, since it was in San Jose, California, they have different laws as far as schooling wise. They could not put me in senior year, so they had to
Mm.
hold me back because of the way the school system was structured. They told me
Yep.
you're too young to be a senior, so therefore we're gonna bring you back down to sophomore year, which was a big mistake
Why?
because my subjects they were I had already taken them in elementary, right? What's up, man? Yeah, sorry, these are my friends.
I know, I know, I can see that. So you had already had the courses, so that would have made them boring for you.
That is correct. Yeah, it was very very boring because all the courses, the subjects that they had me taken, I had already taken them and passed them when I was in fourth, fifth grade in the Philippines.
Wow.
Yeah,
Um, so the fact that you would have been challenged in speaking the language wasn't enough to keep it interesting.
correct. The counselors or the admins, whoever it was at school, they wouldn't believe me that I had already taken these classes back in the Philippines because I didn't know how to speak English very well, right? So they judged me based on my accent. I still do, right? However, yeah, they told me like, well, we can't put you in for senior year because we don't know how well you're gonna do. So what I mean, it became very boring for me. What's up, Nikki? Yeah, it became very boring for me. So I was like, okay, let me just go with this and just write a time.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. So karaoke, yes, that's one of the questions
Fernando.
about. It's a little later, but let's ask it now. Were
Sure.
you always a singer?
No, absolutely not.
When did it? When did it? When did you take that on? Because I've watched you. I know how much you enjoy it. I, for the most part, enjoy listening to you. And when I don't, I laugh my head off. In other words, when you don't hit that note, I just love it because I'm the same. I can't sing at all. And I was told to lip sync when I was in elementary school. You can move your lips, but you can't make any noise, the teacher said to me.
Wow.
And I would never have the chutzpah that you have to just belt something out and get good at it, even if I'd be too afraid that it's going to crack. So I admire you for that. But
Well, thank you, Abby.
when did you take it on?
Um, I started taking it on around the same time when I started packing sandwiches and handing them out with bottled water, for the less fortunate. Why? I don't know. It was just a random thing. So before I started getting into like singing karaoke, by the way, because I'm not a professional singer, um, I used to have a different life, Effie, that you didn't have in the pictures because I didn't think it was appropriate.
Why? How so?
I used to have a six pack.
You have a six pack.
I used to have a
Uh,
six pack. I had a different lifestyle. I was
a
women
six
used to
pack.
pay me.
Wait, a six pack usually means that you're very, very fit.
Yeah, very very fit. Yeah, I
Okay.
can. I can text you a photo right now. But so I used to dance for a living. I used to be a dance instructor.
Oh, that
Yeah,
kind of six pack.
yeah.
That would have been fun. I would have definitely put that on. I definitely would have put that on. Oh, that is so funny. Oh, okay. So that's how you made your living?
Yeah, that's how I used to make my living. I think Sherry saw one of my pictures before, but I can text you one of them right now.
Well,
Here.
because I am interested in knowing, when you came to high school and that's what happened after high school? And when did you step out on your own? And how did you get to where you are here? So we're jumping all over the place, and that's cool. But, oh, wait a minute. Okay, let me see. But I am curious. Oh, my. Let me see if I can get this on my computer.
Okay.
Chino.
Yeah.
I'm Chin, yes. No, no, that's funny. Not funny. It's surprising. Not surprising.
Yes.
That sounds weird. I wouldn't have guessed. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't have guessed. So tell me about
Yeah.
that. I mean, here you were you had 2 years in high school. I'm assuming you were living with your family.
I was. Yeah, I was living with my family for a very short time, and then
Oh,
that's when where I'm at right now because of my journey in California. I was homeless, Effie.
what do you mean?
I was
You left
homeless.
home? You left home.
So there was a time where I wasn't getting along with my family because I was accused of doing drugs. I never did drugs before
Oh, they
because
just accused you and that was enough.
well, I stood out, right? So I was the first Filipino that skateboarded in high school. I was the only Filipino around that time that was skateboarding in high school, and I had spiky hair, I had green hair, gold hair, silver hair, whatever it may be, right? Like I would just paint my hair, and I would skateboard. I had piercings
Okay.
everywhere, right? You know, I love my grandpa. May he rest in peace. He told my mom that your son is doing drugs because he looks weird. He's got spikes all over his face. Yeah, so it wasn't traditional, right? It wasn't your typical Filipino kid, you know, that would go to school. So um, it became very stressful for me, right? I was working, I was helping out my mom, right? Working at McDonald's. That was my very first job, by the way. That's the reason why I have my meetings at
Working
McDonald's.
at McDonald's?
Yeah, I worked at McDonald's. That's the reason why like I have all my meetings at McDonald's for the most part because it helps ground me, right? Like, you know what
Oh,
I mean? Don't
interesting.
forget. Yeah, don't forget you come from humble beginnings, you know what I mean? Just because you make more money now, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean, you know, like you're gonna be changed, you're gonna be a changed person. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I worked at McDonald's. I helped support my mom so that my sister could come here from the Philippines, right? So therefore, I still did that, and it came to a point where like I can't be in this environment, so I chose to leave. However, it became very tough for me as far as like making that money, right? So I became homeless, and you are the second YouTuber podcaster that I have this closest with. First was Benson, and your
Wow.
second, yeah, nobody knows about this within my family. Well, they will now once they
That's
see
it.
this video.
What did you, how did you survive on were you on the street or like I moved out of home too because of my dad beat the shit out of me so badly that I should have been hospitalized and I wasn't. But I left, but I was taken in by a friend. You know, her father said, and her mom said, no, you come with us. And I did. And I was only there for like 4 months or so till I saved enough money to be able to rent.
Hmm.
But I was with people who cared. Were you with people or what did you do when you left? Because I mean, as youngsters, it's scary to just leave. I was ready to
Yeah.
go back to this abuse, and the honest truth was, I thought he'd kill me next time.
Oh no.
So, you know, because of the fear of not knowing where would I go. So, where did you go? How did you handle it? And I'm sorry
So
that you had.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to laugh earlier. It just caught me off
No,
guard when you cursed when you said the S word because I don't expect that coming from you.
me? What the F not? Are you kidding? Ask Sherry; she'll tell you.
Hello, Sherry. Um,
Yeah.
so I lived in my van that I bought for my mom, right? I also couch surfed. I also spent so many nights at a park. I don't know which parks I went to. Wherever I could drive, wherever like parking lots, I would sleep there, right? I would get chased out by securities. Just normal day to day thing, right? And then I would go to Wiener Schnitzel because they always had like coupons, right? So that saved my life. You know what I mean? Like like it's just I didn't think that I was homeless until I grew up. Right? I thought it was just a thing because I had never been homeless before, right? Until I came to Vegas and I realized that we have it worse here than in California, or during that time anyway.
How long were you on your own like that and out on your own?
Yeah. So, hi, Gabrielle. How are you? I was homeless for about 2.5 years.
Oh, that's a long time. That is a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry, but it must have been a little rough to, to go to be that, to have to be a survivalist at that age for that long.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky to have friends, that would sneak me in, when their parents would not be home, so that I could shower, twice a week. That's probably why, where I get it from now. That okay, I don't need to shower because I don't smell.
I understand. I do understand. And during that time, you were just working odd jobs wherever you could, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I was working at Montgomery Wards. I don't know if anyone remembers Montgomery Wards.
I
It
do.
is okay. There you go. Yeah. So I was a salesperson there for photos, right? I would try to sell like packages. However, my sister beat me. My sister beat me. She also worked there, but she didn't sell photos. She was recruiting people to apply for credit cards. She was really good at it.
Oh, I'm glad that you explained that. I didn't like hearing she beat you after you
I
said you're on
don't
your
no, as far as making money,
own. Okay, gotcha. I
yeah,
gotcha.
because
Well, that's okay. That's a nice rivalry, right?
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
happy for her. It's just like egging you on. So that part is that's pretty good.
yeah.
So now you must have been in your early. Were you 20 yet?
So I moved to Vegas at 20 years old. So yeah, I left San Jose, California at 20 years old, and I moved here at 20 years old.
And why Vegas?
That's when my sister called me. Hey, we're moving to Vegas because it's a lot cheaper than California. It only makes sense, if the whole family, get together and then live together again. Would you like to start anew? And I told her, sure, I'll try it. And I drove my van, of course, right? And then that's when I saw a lot of people were less fortunate. What's
In
up,
Vegas?
Ralph? Yeah, in Vegas. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Now, Chino, I want to say something a little bit here. Um,
sure.
the people that came a little bit late, you really have to go back and listen to some of them.
Okay.
But you had stated that you weren't too sure about being on a podcast. You bring them out, buddy.
So Pace was actually the one that pushed me to do a podcast. I don't have my own podcast yet. I will soon. Um,
Wonderful,
yeah, I
wonderful.
have. Yeah, there's a big reason for it, right? So that I can reach more people.
Good, perfect.
So yeah, so Pace is very good at pushing people, right? I
Hmm.
admire that so much about him because I'm doing the same thing for my friends.
Hmm.
He told me that you gotta get out there so that you can share what you're doing because and one of the hangouts that Pace would have like because we would hang out every time we would come to Vegas. He would hit me up like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" He would take me to private mastermind events. Effie, that is crazy bananas.
Nice,
Yeah, and then we would have our
nice.
our solo mastermind event. We would vision casting and whatnot. And then
Yep.
one time Pace goes, "Bro, what exactly do you do?" Right? He didn't know what I did.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
well. Okay, we're gonna get there real soon.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
I want to know when you went to Vegas with and your to join your family. Did it work out?
It worked out. It worked out until like I had to move out. Right. Of course, there's a lot of things that happened in between. Right. And then I became very independent. Like got my own place at the age of 23. That was my very first property. Right.
Oh, you bought your own property.
I bought my own
Now,
property at the age of 23.
and is that from the money you made dancing?
No. Dancing came afterwards. Yeah, dancing came afterwards. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
soon
how did you make
after,
the money?
so I used to work for a cabinet making company. I'm glad that you asked that question because this company, I don't think they exist anymore, named Maryland, it actually projectile me, like it helped me a lot. Like I became friends with one, like people that nobody wanted to be friends with, right? Like my supervisor, like she's so strict, nobody really liked her. And then, like we became really close to a point where like she really liked me, that she co-signed for me.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
she
Awesome.
co-signed. Yeah, she co-signed for me to get my car, right? Because that time I had already lost my van because life happened, right? But yeah, she co-signed for me. She believed in my work ethic to where she got promoted to be a manager. She wanted to bring me in as the supervisor or team leader, right? I told her, like, no, I don't want to do that, like because of the whole thing. I'm not worthy of leading people, right? So it started me from a very young age. But yeah,
Wow, that's awesome. So then you had your own, was it like an apartment? Is that what you got?
no, it was a townhouse. So I bought this townhouse. Yeah, it was only $90,000. My goodness.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, what did you do with it? Did you house hack by any chance?
Kind of, yeah. I did have some roommates. Yeah, I house hacked it. Yeah, until I couldn't anymore, and then like the crash happened. But before the crash happened, that's where I started my dancing career. Right, I joke around with my friends. I tell them that I was a dance gigolo.
I was not going to say that, but dang, that picture was awfully sexy. He sent me a picture of himself, guys, when he was, when he had that six pack. And, wow, that's all I can say. If I was really good with technology, you'd be looking at it now. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, what was it like dancing for a living?
It was very interesting because language was a barrier for me because I did not know how to speak Tagalog that well. So, hey, what's up, Daniel? How you doing, bro? Great seeing you. So, when I learned, well, of course, English, I then learned Spanish back to back. Right? I learned Spanish first before I learned Tagalog, which is the national language of the Philippines. When
That's
I got
interesting.
into, yeah, I know, because it wasn't my first language, so I didn't know how to speak it. Right? The only reason why I learned how to speak Tagalog because of my dancing career. Right? When I used to dance for a living, like my dance teacher or instructor at that time only gave me 4 lessons, and I retained it because I would practice. Yeah, because I was a
Wow.
hip hop. Yeah, because I was a hip hop dancer before I learned how to do like Latin ballroom. Yeah. So,
I know.
I mean,
Okay.
I can go on forever, with this career because it made me a lot of money, and I've got some crazy stories.
I'll bet. What's the craziest one you've got? Tell us one before we go on to, the next stage of your life. What was the craziest story you have when you were dancing?
Um, when women, were fighting for me, were fighting over me, my clientele. Yeah, so when I would show up to an appointment, right? Like so, I would teach in the morning how to dance, and then they would book me at night, right? So I would dance for about 3 hours. They would pay me about $50 an hour, and then I would show up,
Wow.
with yeah. I would show up, with a nice get up, and then they were like, "Oh, this is a nice shirt. Where'd you get it?" I'm like, "I didn't get it." And then they're like, "Oh, how did you get it?" I'm like, "Oh, so and so got it for me." And then that person, that lady, she's like, "Oh, okay." So the following appointment she would have something for me, right? And then it's like she would buy me cologne, right? And then it went on to like become a competition to where like the next lady was like, "Oh, that smells really good. What are you wearing?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Blue de Chanel." It's like, how much you pay for it? And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't pay for it." Like, well, who got it for you? Like, I'm like, how did you get it? I'm like, "Oh, so and so got it for me." So then that lady, would buy me, like cologne, right? It was just like it went on and on and on. So we're like, Effie, I had the lineup. Yeah, I have a lineup of sugar mamas.
I think that's awesome. You should have just moved into buying you houses, period.
Uh,
Buy me
I
a
was,
house and you won't need a car.
yeah,
I'm
I
sorry.
was close to that. Yeah,
PG rated. I better be careful.
yeah.
That is so funny. Oh my God. So why did you leave it?
Because of an advice coming from my multimillionaire client. So this clientele used to, she took me around the world, right? She booked me every month. So we would go on a cruise, like world cruise, like different countries. Yeah. So my
Nice.
longest, Yeah, it was a great career. So my longest cruise was 18 days. We flew to Europe, right? All expenses paid, and then brought the ship back, a brand new ship, right? And then yeah, I know it was a great experience. And then when we were deboarding the ship, she asked me a question. She's like, "Hey, baby, like, are you ready for our next cruise?" And I'm like, "Depends." She goes, "What about world cruise?" And then I was like, "How long is that?" She said, 101 days. And then I looked at her and I said, "No, I can't. That's too long." Yeah, so we were laughing. And then she asked me a question. She's like, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" I mean, yeah, what do you want to do when you grow up? Right? She was kidding. And then I said, I want to start my own family. Like I wanna create a foundation. And that's when she told me, then you gotta stop dancing for a living. This is not the life for you. So I took her advice. She goes, "You need to work your ass off, your butt off, sorry, um, and
No,
save,
your
save."
accent is fine.
Okay.
I did not mean that. I mean the word. Okay, this is getting too weird. But I,
JT, what's up, bro?
yeah, Justin, save us, please, from the general. Really silly. We're
Yeah.
listening to Chino's dance days, and all
Yes.
I can say is I'll share the picture he shared with me of
Sure.
you.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I didn't know that you were a dancer like that. That's awesome. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And then I guess that probably got you thinking, though, right? You know,
Yeah.
spending 101 days with on a boat with you kind of stuck. I can
Mhm.
see why you say no. Um, when did you decide to actually step out of that high-paying career, and what did you go into?
So I think it was 2007.
Did you also teach dancing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thought. What's up, Kristen? I love Kristen. She's my mommy.
Kristen's
She's amazing.
awesome. She
Yeah,
tells
she
me
is.
all the secrets.
Yeah, so I did teach. I did teach dancing. So if you think $50 an hour was crazy, here's a crazier part. I used to teach particularly women, right? And, I had some male clients as well, like the husbands, the ones that don't know how to dance. Um, get this, I would get paid by tapping on the table, that teaching rhythm. Yeah, like legit, I would get paid $35 per 45 minutes.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's funny. That's funny.
that's level one. Level two, the next phase is them walking on beat.
Mhm.
Another $35 per 45 minutes. Yeah, it's crazy what people pay for, right? For something because they have so much money.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Amazing. So, what did you decide to do when you decided, okay, I am going to hang up? Well, I guess you didn't wear shoes when you danced, did you?
I did, yeah. I have some embarrassing shoes that I own. They're called Cuban Latin ballroom shoes, and they have like 1 inch heel. And I'm like, I've always been so uncomfortable wearing them because I have flat feet. So yeah, did not like them. Yeah, but I had to wear them so that I could dance better. But yeah, what did I decide to do afterwards? I became a bartender. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, went to bartending school, which you don't have to go to bartending school. You just learn from a friend and then become a bartender. And then I worked my way up. I worked at a dive bar. This right here changed the trajectory of my life because it only took one customer. So I used to work at a dive bar, and there was nobody. I had the slowest shift, which was day shift, right, and had one customer, right. So Effie, I have this.
Oh, you're freezing on me. Oh, no, don't freeze when you're telling me the story. Come back. Oh, Chino, take a breath. Why is this? I hope, am I freezing too? I hope not. Okay, that's good to know. All right. Well, hopefully, okay, so we see me. And the funny thing is, I already gave a shout out to, oh, he's going to log back in, I hope, to Jevon Javon McGee, another sub two student at the very beginning when I started, because I just moved and I wanted to make sure that at least the connection was okay. And I got the best connection and I'm hardwired. So seeing that made me really unhappy. Um, so I'm glad to know that it was not on my end. And oh my God, guys, let me see if I can show you this. Mine just cut off. I'm going to say log back in. Okay. All right. Look at this, guys. Look at this. That's the picture he sent me. Dang, he had six packs. I can see why they. Okay, I probably shouldn't have done that without his permission. He says trying. He's trying to log back in. I want to hear the end of that story because part of the reason I started the podcast is we have all these moments that I call the effing moments of things that happen and that do change our life. And it's interesting to see that, Chino had a different kind of struggle at the beginning. And oh, he needs to restart my Wi Fi, which he did, but doing it again. Okay, that's all right. Um, I would appreciate it if you guys commented on Chino's personal Facebook because about this experience because he has so much to offer and he's so fun. He's so fun. And I'm sure this is kind of feeding right into his insecurity. He didn't think he could do this. I said, oh, yes, you can. Come on, do it. So if you guys can send him, private messages or whatever later telling him you enjoyed it, that would be very nice, to because he should be on more stages and he should get his story because we haven't even gotten to the modern day. But I mean, like right now, but we're close. We're getting close. Um, oh, thank you, Weisbaum. Who is Weisbaum? I want to know Weisbaum's. Who is that? Oh, hi, Bara. Nice to see you. It's cool to see you all. Thank you for coming. Yeah, so I'm curious to know who said what to him that changed his life like that. I had a young lady reach out to me. I've never forgotten her, but that I know I had affected. Oh, okay. Hi, Ruben. And she had sent me through Facebook a pretty long message on schedule a call with you. Oh, for sure, Jennifer, about how I had affected her life in a positive way. And it sort of took me aback because it was such a long time ago. And yet she, felt strongly enough to go ahead and reach out to me. And it just goes to show that, I mean, I remembered her and she's a special person in my life, but the fact that I actually, affected her, it's cool. Hey, Chino, we're glad you're back.
Thank you.
Chino, I hope you don't hate me, but I showed the picture.
Sure, yeah, no, I don't care.
Well, you're awfully, yeah. All right. So you cut out on us on a very important moment because you
Okay.
said that you had the worst shift for a bartender and that there was no one really around, but someone said something which was instrumental. Who was that
Yes.
person and what did they say?
His name is Steve, and so here's my. I don't know if I said my mantra earlier, but my mantra is like every morning that I wake up, I always tell myself this: if you make somebody smile, it's a good day. If you make them laugh, it's a better day, right? So that's always embedded in my head.
Yep.
When I went to work, well, mind you, Effie, this local bar, I was only making average about $20-$25 a day.
A
Right?
day
So that's
after you had
yeah,
been making
a
50
day.
bucks an hour?
Yeah, a day, $25 a day. That's what I would average. Yeah. So Steve walked in, and then I made him laugh. Right? I didn't right. Make the long story short, I made him laugh. So he goes 10 minutes into it. He's like, bro, I really love your personality. He goes, how would you like to work for a big company? And then I was like, well, how big? He goes, the Venetian. So Venetian, right here on the strip in Vegas,
That's what I thought.
yeah, gave me the ability to buy the property that I'm in right now. Because
Wow.
that opportunity, Steve opened a door for me in banquets. So I became a banquet bartender, and then they gave me an opportunity to become a banquet server, which there I made a ton more money.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
That is really amazing. And one person can make a big difference, as we
yeah,
know, because we all are beholden to pace. One man makes such a huge difference.
yeah.
And we can all do that in at least a small way. It's pretty cool to say the least. How long, and you bought the house you're in now because of that?
Hmm. Because of
Good.
that, yes.
How long did you work there and when did you get to real estate?
So 2014 is when I started in Venetian, and then 2015 is when I bought my house.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And how long did you stay with them?
I quit my job about 2 years ago, shortly after I joined Sub.
Yeah, we joined around the same time. I had started in May, and I think you started June or the close thereafter.
Yes, July 1st was my, or June 30th. Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. So, what made you choose Sub 2? And we do need to hear about this. We is greater than me.
Yes. So I was first into this, other mentor. I was like following him online, and then until he started talking about birth strategy, and then I looked at birth strategy. I'm like, oh, that doesn't apply to me because it was during the pandemic. Right after the pandemic, everything was still closed. Right. So I was like, I can't do this because I won't get approved, for credit. So there's got to be something else. So for the meantime, I was learning how to do property taxes. Right, through
Hmm.
a real estate lawyer here in Vegas, tax, right, that used to work with Pace. And then Pace, so it was Clint Coons, right? Shout out to Clint Coons. Thank you so much, for having that video with Pace. And then he
Worked
had
with
a,
Coons? You worked with Clint
no,
Coons?
no, Pace. Pace used to work with Clint Coons, the Andersons.
Yes, yes, I know. That was where I first saw him.
Right, yeah. That was the first time I saw Pace.
Interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting. So as much as he criticizes them, and didn't stay with them, I'm grateful to them because if it weren't for them, I wouldn't have come in contact with them.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, it was that video where so Clint Coons introduced this bearded man, and then as soon as he started talking about I bought this property, I paid $25,000 above asking price. I got up my couch and I was like, that's him. That's my mentor. I'm gonna learn from him. However, he did it.
That's the same thing that happened to me. That's so
Really?
really, really. It was in that same video. I was like,
Wow.
I'd already paid for Anderson advising, right? And
Yeah.
I thought, I'm not buying a whole bunch of mentorships. That's ridiculous. They're just ripping you off. And then I thought that was kind of worth it. I thought it's education, it's professional, the whole thing. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, I joined the wrong mentorship. And I started following Pace, and that's when I joined. That's funny
Yeah.
that we had the same experience. Funny.
Wow. Look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Except I guess I was a little faster than you because I was just a month earlier.
Yeah, yeah. So I joined Gator first. I don't know if you joined Gator
Right.
first.
Yeah, I joined Gator before it was Gator.
Yeah, yeah, same here. So I was one of the OGs with you, for the Gator part of it, and then a month
Mama
later,
Gator, Mama
I
Gator,
joined something.
Mama Gator, Mama Gator.
Yeah. So
And then I realized, wait a minute, he keeps talking about this sub two. His heart, his real heart is in sub two. What am I doing
Yes.
here? Okay, I'm going to sub two. And that's when I met all these wonderful people that are with us now.
Yeah.
So, and we were at the first mastermind, our first masterminds. You were at my very first mastermind.
Yes. November 2022.
That's
Yeah.
right. Gabriella was there. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of people were there.
Yeah.
And I know that that's when you jumped in, and talk to us about what you're doing now and what is this we is greater than me.
Okay, let's talk about that. So, one of my ventures with Pace, when it comes to Vegas, we're always hanging out together. So I'm still battling this imposter syndrome, right? Not feeling worthy to lead a group of people because he was the one that was pushing me to lead. Like it was
Yeah.
him, right? I told him
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, like I don't want to be a leader. Like no, like I just want to help people. And he goes, that's what great leaders do. They don't want the title; they just do the work. It's like
Yep.
you and I. He was telling me like you and I are no different from each other. We both want to lead from behind so that we may be able to push our friends forward, right?
Yep.
Because that's like I keep pushing my friends like you need to do this. You can do this. If I'm able to do it, you can do it, and you can do it better, right? So that's the type of mindset that I have, right? And then Pace goes, this reminds me of a video of this golf um, thing tournament. What is it called? Like fashion something. I forgot what it was called. And then like we were on our way to our Vegas Sub 2 hike, and then when I got back and then I saw the video, oh man, like I just started bawling. I'm like, that's exactly how I feel about my friends. Shout out to the other three leaders in Vegas Sub 2, right? That's Bethany right there. She's in Gator. Kristen, who is our Vegas Molly here. She's amazing. She's now in Sub 2 officially. She's always been part of Sub 2. Now it's on paper. And then we got Thomas right there, who's also a Vegas Sub 2 leader. So
Nice.
because of that
And
video.
the man himself.
Say what?
And the man himself.
Yes, yes. Oh, that was our first year anniversary for Vegas Power Hour.
Nice.
And Effie, that happened a day after our owners club retreat.
Awesome.
Yeah, Pace
Uh,
flew in just to be with us.
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. So I'm showing these out of order, but still, look at that
Yeah.
smile you have. Aren't you glad you traded in those six packs?
Yeah, so we're done.
I love it. And
Hey guys, what is our biggest takeaway?
Everyone has an important role to play.
And no one is more important than the other.
We is greater than me.
Yes, that is.
Oh. now we have one more to show, and oops, sorry about that. I want you to tell me about this is really, really funny. I've seen this before, and I'm sorry, I can't help it. It just makes me laugh. It just brings a smile to my face. But talk to us about the we is greater than me. I'd like to know
So
when you started with that, how it's going. I know that you help with the homeless. I want to know what you're focusing on. I know a lot of money's coming your way, just because of the goodness in your heart. But talk about that.
sure. So we is greater than me. It is the thing that Pace and we talk about all the time when we're together, right? Like you can't be doing this alone, right? You have to include the people that you're surrounding yourself with, right? There's a lot of like unfortunately, like some investors, they still, some of them think that, well, like it's all about me, 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 me. Like no, that's not what I learned, from Sub 2, right? That's not the mentality that I have even before I joined Sub 2, right? However, Sub 2 was the very first that I ever felt like I belonged, right? Because before Sub 2, I was a realtor for about a year, right? And I was never part of a group. Yeah, I was never part of a group, did not even join a team, right? And the fact that when I joined Sub 2 and then Paige showed me like, basically what he was telling me through his words, action was, this is your family now. Take care of them, right? So I took that to the heart. So I would always tell Pace, I was like, bro, I am never gonna be one of your heavy hitting leaders. However, I will always be that person that a newbie needs because I needed somebody to show me the way when I just started sub two.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. And when we started, there was when I started, it was under four. Probably was under four still when you joined, and now we're at 14. Lots of newbies.
Yes, yeah, lots of great people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1000%.
Yeah. So, talk about what you're doing in Vegas, both for real estate and also for the newbies and the we to me.
So I use obviously creative finance, right, to acquire these properties that I have, but I use it to house the less fortunate, right? So I have to be, like at first I have to be like very careful, with what I was doing, acquiring the properties, because I didn't have all the fundings, right? Like I had my own reserves and whatnot. However, like Pace was what he's taught us, like bring another friend in, right? That
Yeah.
can partner up with you, and then you guys make money together, right? So I've been using that model, right? So that's exactly what I've been doing. I'm acquiring right now. We're under escrow for a property. It's a VA loan, year built 2023. The objective for that property is to house homeless veterans.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love what Gabriela just said.
Yes.
Here goes
That.
the Chino split.
Yes. That is the Chino split. Yes.
Is that something that Gabriela just thought of right now, or has it been said before?
No. So it's been implemented, right? So we know like a huge platform of shared co-living type of platform, called Passlit. Shout out to Passlit, right? However, right, so because I'm a comedian, I'm like, well, I'm going to create a name for myself. And I've been doing shared housing, co-living before I joined Sub 2, right? I just never had a name for it. So I started calling it Chino Split, right,
Love
afterwards.
it. Love
Yeah,
it. That brand, you could really do well with that, Chino. You could
thank
do
you.
really well with Chino split. I mean, you're doing very well anyhow. But when you say that you're helping the less fortunate, are you doing Section 8? Or now you mentioned right now homeless vets.
Mhm.
That, you know, I'm very, very proud of being a dual citizen. I grew up
Mhm.
in Canada, but I've lived longer in the States. And we don't really have vets that much in Canada because Canada hasn't had to go to war, because we've got the
Mm.
states right next to us and they're going to protect us. They're not going to let somebody move in there. We're too close. And
Yeah.
they do have Army, Navy, the whole thing. We've been involved in most wars that America has been involved in, but only on the volunteer basis. We've never had the draft. So to me, when I first arrived, and still, I think that vets in the States are not treated as well as I would like them to be. Because when you have given a psychological part of your heart and your brain the way that they have, and they come back and they have a hard time, a lot of people just look the other way. And I think that it shouldn't be. So I'm very, very touched to hear that you're focusing on vets, because I think, like I said, they should be treated better. It just saying thank you for your service is not enough. So tell me where you're coming in contact with them, and how are they, how are you making it possible for them? How are you doing it?
Okay. So this is my way of serving our country is by serving our vets, right? Who have served our country, like especially the ones that have become unseen, right? So, I don't know if you're familiar with HUD-VASH. HUD-VASH is actually a government housing division that serves homeless veterans, right? But
Okay.
they mimic Section 8 housing voucher, right?
Okay.
Very similar structure and stuff. So I contacted HUD-VASH early this year, right, about the whole shared housing and whatnot. They told me like, Chino, we've already petitioned it last November. We haven't heard anything from Federal Housing Authority. So I just kept bugging them. I kept bugging and bugging and bugging until a couple months ago, they finally approved shared housing. So about almost a month ago, I got in contact with both the state of Nevada Housing Division and Federal Housing Authority, and then we got into a Zoom. Now they want to move forward and want to work with me so that I could serve our heroes, so that I could house them. So the next step is to schedule a meeting with them so I could take them, to look at my properties, right? To see my
Nice.
property tour, right? I told them I want to take you guys to the property that I have the closest to the VA hospital, which is about 9 miles away, right? And they're excited about that, right? So that right there is a stepping stone, a step closer to serving our heroes.
I agree. I agree. If you can get those two um, bodies to get together, then you may very well be able to replicate it in other cities too.
That is a plan. Yeah, that is a plan. That's why I've teamed up with other masterminds and owner club members, right? Such as Benjamin Huang and Sabi. Love those two. Great people. They always have a passion. Helping the less fortunate. So everything is just coming together.
Nice, nice. Where are they?
Benjamin Huang, he's in Boston, and Sabi, he's here in Vegas. He's one of our very amazing human being, Vegas Sub 2 member, as well as Gator.
Good, good. I love it. Well, I'm in the process of doing my very first co-living property in Charlotte.
Congrats.
In Charlotte.
Congrats.
But I intend to do considerably more. I want to scale. And, you and I should talk because of how I feel. Minimum, I'd love to have at least one that's, dedicated just to vets because they deserve it. We're so lucky. We're so lucky. I don't care what political party you belong in. If someone has given their time and has probably been shocked and possibly taken other people's lives in another part of the world for our freedom, that crosses all borders.
Yeah.
And Gabriela says absolutely has to have one in Detroit.
Yeah, well, I'm working on that. John and Justin Pical, have already reached out. Chino, you should do that here in Detroit. Yes, working on it. Thank you, Gabriela.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what, Chino?
Yes.
When the time is right, and I do have a long roster of people that I've already booked because it's, Pace pushed me too, right? I didn't want to do this and he pushed me. But I would like to have you back on with some of the people that you're reaching out to, in Sub 2, to specifically bring more attention to just this, Chino splits.
Okay. I am so down. It would be an honor of mine again. So thank you so much, Eddie.
Because, if the Piquels and Miss Deku and other people are getting together, and I'll do what I can. And that's why I say you and I should talk specifically so that you can help guide me to get one in Charlotte. But the idea of having the group that you're starting to reach out to you will definitely, it's the least I can do. I mean, I do have the podcast, and usually it's for everyone to be able to learn from each other. But on occasion, I'll see a cause, a calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, Evie. That would be great because now we're reaching more people. You know what I mean? Encouraging them, to do the same. That real estate, does not have to be Airbnb. I'm not knocking anyone down. You know what I mean? This is just my opinion. You know what I mean? You could make money in Airbnb, in midterm rental, corporate rental, right? Shout out to my friends, who are killing it. Leo here in Vegas, he's killing it, right? He's also a Vegas Sub 2 member. Shout out to Katie French, amazing MTR operator, right? I call it MTR Queen. I stay in my lane, right? So this is what I do best. This is what I know, right? Helping, house the less fortunate, right? And then, why not extend it, to the ones who want to do it, in the area.
Right, right. And if you can structure it so that it is a viable business, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
Section 8 is known for being very dependable and improving the quality of life for many, uh, you know, um, regular folk.
hmm
Why not be able to do something that is even a bigger calling? You
a
know what I'm
thousand
saying?
percent, a
Yeah,
thousand percent. You
yeah.
should hear. You should hear my 4 stages of housing that I created.
I want to. I want to. You know what? Part of my goal when I do this is for us to get to know the people that we think we know a little bit more and better,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons I try to focus on the childhood. The baby Chino. And then the hot Chino. Oh my God! Who wouldn't know? Because surprise, surprise. You don't expect these things. But I will say I have to have you back. We've got to talk about this more
Okay.
because it's just too important. Yep, yep. I agree, Kristen. If you guys can get them to change the program so that it's more functional, that would be very good for everyone. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and Chino, you have a way of drawing people, and I think that I'm glad that you do that. And if you can, like you say, stay in your lane and be instrumental in making this happen, what else could you want?
Right.
What else
No, a
could you
thousand
want?
percent.
All right. So, guys, I hope you will support what I just suggested, having a come back with the focus being specifically. Are you calling it a Chino split, or are you going to brand it something else? I don't care. I just want to know because I'll start using it. I'll start using it wherever I can. But I would like for the folks to be able to start talking about it. Um, Guys, I encourage you to please comment underneath this podcast. I don't usually do it. I always forget to say hit like and subscribe and all that. But for this one, I'm going to ask you to make comments, and I'm going to ask you to send the copy, send the link to people who you think should know more about it. Let's get a little more awareness as much as we can, because I'm benefiting just because I get to know everything, including that you used to be an erotic dancer, but the this is absolutely something that we absolutely need to do.
Yes. Chino Split will definitely be the name for it, Effie.
Nice, very nice indeed. Well, okay, everyone. I would like to say thank you so, so, so very much. And usually you hear me say, and join me next Monday, but next Monday is Labor Day. And I have decided that I am not going to podcast on next Monday just because I'm going to take it to get more organized and get myself set up so that when you guys, I don't want to hear any of these, oh, your left side of the face was darker than the right side. I don't give a hoot. The point is, I'm going to use a little time to get more into business, into taking next steps. So we shall see you in 2 weeks on What the Effie.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys, and thank you, Effie.
Are you kidding? Thank you. I'm blown away.